Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on, where you are in the world. This is Gloria White coming to you from Utah, USA. And God bless you wherever you are. Today I am going to be in the King James Version, no, in the King James Bible, the 1611 version. And we are and this is the continuously reading as long as I can. I so want to know everything that's in this book, and so I just can't hold myself back. I'll continue doing the chapter by chapter for those that prefer it that way. But for me, I want to know everything. Like Esdras, I want to know now what will be. And he's going to tell him. And so let's read from chapter 12. And the summary of chapter 12 is 3. The eagle which he saw is destroyed. Verse 10. The vision is interpreted. Verse 37. He is bid to write his visions. Verse 39. And to fast that he may see more. Verse 46. He doth comfort those that were grieved for his absence. Remember when he told them that, go away, don't bother me? When they came to him and wanted his help, and he said, go away, because he's so troubled by everything. And now he's been speaking with the angel Uriel. And so here we continue now in chapter 12. And it did come to pass, while the lion spake these words unto the eagle, I saw, and behold, the head that remained, and the 4 wings appeared no more. And the 2 went unto it, and set themselves up to reign, and their kingdom was small and full of vapor. And I saw, and behold, they appeared no more. And the whole body of the eagle was burnt, so that the earth was in great fear. Then awaked I out of the trouble and trance of my mind, and from great fear, and said unto my spirit, Lo, this hast thou done unto me, in that thou searchest out the ways of the highest. Lo, yet I am weary in my mind, and very weak in my spirit, and little strength is there in me, for the great fear wherewith I was affrighted this night. Therefore will I now beseech the highest, that he will comfort me unto the end. And I said, Lord that beareth rule, if I have found grace before thy sight, and if I am justified with thee before many others, and if my prayer indeed be come up before thy face, comfort me then, and show me thy servant the interpretation and plain difference of this fearful vision, that thou mayest perfectly comfort my soul, for thou hast judged me worthy to show me the last times. And he said unto me, This is the interpretation of the vision. The eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel. But it was not expounded unto him. Therefore now I declare it unto thee. This is the mystery that Daniel was told to shut up until the end, that he would sleep with his fathers and stand with them at the end. Okay. Verse 12. But it was not expounded unto him. Therefore now I declare it unto thee. Behold, the days will come, that there shall rise up a kingdom upon earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. In the same shall 12 kings reign, one after another. Wherefore the second shall begin to reign, and shall have more time than any of the 12. And this do the 12 wings signify which thou sawest. As for the voice which thou hearest speak, and that thou sawest not to go out from the heads, but from the midst of the body thereof, this is the interpretation. That after the time of that kingdom there shall arise great stirrings, and it shall stand in peril of falling. Nevertheless, it shall not then fall, but shall be restored again to his beginning. And whereas thou sawest the 8 small under feathers sticking to her wings, this is the interpretation. That in him there shall arise 8 kings, whose time shall be but small, and their years swift. And 2 of them shall perish, the middle time approaching. 4 shall be kept until their end begin to approach, but 2 shall be kept unto the end. And whereas thou sawest 3 heads resting, this is the interpretation. In his last days shall the Most High raise up 3 kingdoms, and renew many things therein, and they shall have the dominion of the earth, and of those that dwell therein with much oppression, above all those that were before them. Therefore are they called the heads of the eagle. For these are they that shall accomplish his wickedness, and that shall finish his last end. And whereas thou sawest that the great head appeared no more, it signifieth that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. For the 2 that remain shall be slain with the sword. For the sword of the one shall devour the other, but at the last shall he fall through the sword himself. And whereas thou sawest 2 feathers under the wings, passing over the head that is on the right, it signifieth that these are they whom the Highest hath kept unto their end. This is the small kingdom, and full of trouble, as thou sawest. And the lion whom thou sawest rising up out of the wood, and roaring, and speaking to the eagle, and rebuking her for her unrighteousness, with all the words which thou hast heard. This is the anointed, which the Highest has kept for them, and for their wickedness unto the end. He shall reprove them, and shall upbraid them with their cruelty. For he shall set them before him alive in judgment, and shall rebuke them and correct them. For the rest of my people shall he deliver with mercy. For the rest of my people shall he deliver with mercy, those who have been preserved upon my borders. And he shall make them joyful until the coming of the day of judgment, whereof I have spoken unto thee from the beginning. This is the dream that thou sawest, and these are the interpretations. Thou only hast been meet to know this secret of the Highest. Thou only hast been meant to know this secret of the Highest. Therefore write all these things that thou hast seen in a book, and hide them, and teach them to the wise of the people, whose hearts thou knowest may comprehend and keep these secrets. But wait thou here thyself yet 7 days more, that it may be showed thee whatsoever it pleaseth the Highest to declare unto thee. And with that he went his way. And it came to pass, when all the people saw that the 7 days were past, and I not come again into the city, they gathered them all together from the least unto the greatest, and came unto me and said, What have we offended thee? And what evil have we done against thee, that thou forsaketh us, and sitteth here in this place? For of all the prophets thou only art left us, as a cluster of the vintage, and as a candle in the dark place, and as a haven or ship preserved from the tempest. Are not the evils which are come to us sufficient? If thou forsake us, how much better had it been for us if we also had been burnt in the midst of Sion? For we are not better than they that died there. As they wept with a loud voice, then answered I them, and said, Be of good comfort, O Israel, and be not heavy, thou house of Jacob. For the highest hath you in remembrance, and the mighty hath not forgotten you in temptation. As for me, I have not forsaken you, neither am I departed from you, but am come into this place to pray for the desolation of Zion, and that I might seek mercy for the low estate of your sanctuary. And now go your way home, every man, and after these days will I come unto you. So the people went their way into the city, like as I commanded them. But I remained still in the field 7 days, as the angel commanded me, and did eat only in those days of the flowers of the field, and had my meat of the herbs. Chapter 13. This is the summary of chapter 13. Verse 1. He seeth in his dream a man coming out of the sea. Verse 25. The declaration of his dream. Verse 54. He is praised and promised to see more. Now we know that the sea and the waters are often refers to people or nations. So let's continue in chapter 13. Sorry, my nose is itching. Chapter 13. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, they all burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number, from the 4 winds of the heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place where out of the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Afterward saw I the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him another peaceable multitude. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, some of them were bound, and other some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, Thou hast showed thy servant wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayer. Show me now yet the interpretation of this dream, for for as I conceive in mine understanding, woe unto them that shall be left in those days, and much more woe unto them that are not left behind. For they that were not left were in heaviness. Now understand I the things that are laid up in the latter days, which shall happen unto them, and to those that are left behind. Therefore are they come into great perils, and many necessities, like as these dreams declare. Yet it is easier for him that is in danger to come into these things, than to pass away as a cloud out of the world, and not to see the things that happen in the last days. And he answered unto me and said, The interpretation of the vision shall I show thee, and I will open unto thee the thing that thou hast required. Whereas thou hast spoken of them that are left behind, this is the interpretation. He that shall endure the peril in that time hath kept himself. They that be fallen into danger are such as have works and faith toward the Almighty. Know this therefore, that they which be left behind are more blessed than they that be dead. This is the meaning of the vision. Whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the middle of the sea, the same is he whom God the highest hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came a blast of wind, and fire, and storm, and that he held neither sword nor instrument of war, but that the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen which I showed thee before. And then shall my Son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man descending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them willing to come, and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, and Zion shall come, and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this my Son shall rebuke the wicked intentions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor, by the law which is like unto fire. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land, in the time of Osea the king, whom Salmanasar the king of Assyria laid away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took his counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt. Let me read verse 41 again. But they took this counsel amongst themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never man dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of 1.5 years, and the same region is called Arsareth. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. And now when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou multitude with peace. But those that be left behind of thy people are they that are found within my borders. Now when he destroyeth the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he shall defend his people that remain. And then shall he show them great wonders. Then said I, O Lord, that beareth rule, show me this. Wherefore have I seen the man coming up from the midst of the sea? And he said unto me, Like as thou canst neither seek out, nor know the things that are in the deep of the sea, even so can no man upon the earth see my Son, or those that be with him, but in the daytime. This is the interpretation of the dream which thou sawest, and whereby thou only art here lightened. For thou hast forsaken thine own way, and applied thy diligence unto my law, and sought it. Thy life hast thou ordered in wisdom, and hast called understanding thy mother. And therefore have I showed thee the treasures of the highest. After other 3 days I will speak other things unto thee, and declare unto thee mighty and wondrous things. Then went I forth into the field, giving praise and thanks greatly unto the Most High, because of his wonders which he did in time, because he governed the same, and such things as fall in their seasons. And here I sat 3 days. Verse 13. The summary of chapter 13. The summary of chapter 13. Verse 1. A voice out of a bush called Esdras. Verse 10. And telleth him the world waxeth old. Verse 22. He desireth, because the law was burnt, to write all again. Verse 24. And is bid to get swift writers. Verse 39. He and they are filled with understanding. Verse 45. But he is charged not to publish all that is written. Chapter 13. And it came to pass upon the third day, I sat under an oak, and behold, there came a voice out of a bush over against me, and said, Esdras, Esdras. And I said, Here am I, Lord. And I stood up upon my feet. Then said he unto me, In the bush did I manifestly reveal myself unto Moses, and talked with him, when my people served in Egypt. And I sent him and led my people out of Egypt, and brought him up to the Mount Sinai, the Mount of Sinai, where I held him by me a long season, and told him many wondrous things, and showed him the secrets of the times, the end, and commanded him, saying, These words shalt thou declare, and these shalt thou hide. And now I say unto thee, that thou lay up in thy heart the signs that I have shown, and the dreams that thou hast seen, and the interpretations which thou hast heard. For thou shalt be taken away from all, and from henceforth thou shalt remain with my son, and with such as be like thee, until the times be ended. For the world has lost his youth, and the times begin to wax old. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are already gone, and half of a 10th part. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part. Now, therefore, set thy house in order, and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Let go from thee mortal thoughts. Cast away the burdens of man. Put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. For great yet are evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. For the truth is fled far away, and leasing is hard at hand. For now hasteth the vision to come, which thou hast seen. Then answered I before thee, and said, Behold, Lord, I will go as thou hast commanded me, and reprove the people which are present. But they that shall be born afterward, who shall admonish them? Thus the world is set in darkness, and they that dwell therein are without light. For thy law is burnt, therefore no man knoweth the things that are done of thee, or the works that shall begin. But if I have found grace before thee, send the Holy Ghost into me, and I shall write all that hath been done in the world since the beginning, which were written in by thy law, that men may find thy path, and that they which will live in the latter days may live. And he answered me, saying, Go thy way, gather the people together, and say unto them, that they seek thee not for 40 days. But look thou, prepare thee many box trees, and take with thee Sariah, Debria, Selemia, Echanes, and Aziel. At these 5 which are ready to write swiftly, and come hither, and I shall light a candle of understanding in thine heart, which shall not be put out, till the things be performed which thou shalt begin to write. And when thou hast done, some things shalt thou publish, and some things shalt thou show secretly to the wise. Tomorrow, this hour, shalt thou begin to write. Then went I forth as he commanded, and gathered all the people together, and said, Hear these words, O Israel. Our fathers at the beginning were strangers in Egypt, from whence they were delivered, and received the law of life which they kept not, which ye also have transgressed after them. Then was the land, even the land of Zion, parted among you by lot, but your fathers and ye yourselves have done unrighteousness, and have not kept the ways of the highest commanded you, which the highest commanded you. For as much as he is a righteous judge, he took from you in time the thing that he had given you. And now you are here, and your brethren amongst you. Therefore, if so be that you will subdue your own understanding, and reform your hearts, ye shall be kept alive, and after death ye shall obtain mercy. For after death shall the judgment come, when we shall live again, and then shall the names of the righteous be manifest, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared. Let no man therefore come unto me now, nor seek after me these 40 days. For I took the 5 men as he commanded me. So I took the 5 men as he commanded me, and went into the field, and remained there. And the next day, behold, a voice called me, saying, Esdras, open thy mouth, and drink that I give thee to drink. Then opened I my mouth, Then opened I my mouth, and behold, he reached me a full cup, which was full as if it were water, but the color of it was like fire. And I took it and drank, and when I had drunk it, my heart VT uttered understanding, and wisdom grew in my breast. For my spirit strengtheneth my memory, and my mouth was opened and shut no more. The highest gave me understanding unto the 5 men, and they wrote the wonderful visions of the night that were told, which they knew not. And they sat 40 days, and they wrote in the day, and at night they ate bread. As for me, I spake in the day, and held not my tongue by night. In 40 days they wrote 204 books. And it came to pass, when the 40 days were fulfilled, that the highest spake, saying, The first that thou hast written, publish openly, that the worthy and unworthy may read it. But keep the 70 last, that thou mayest deliver them only to such as be wise among the people. For in them is the spring of understanding, the fountains of wisdom, and the stream of knowledge. And I did so. Wow. We're in verse 15. But I'm going to stop here because there's only 2. We're in we're in chapter 15. We would be next. But there's only 2 more chapters in the book of Esdras, and they're pretty intense from what's been going on. So I would like to break those last 2 down into 2 separate videos, but I'm going to do it now after this one because I can't wait. I need to know how this ends. And as always, I love you.